I know that song. Be back no more.
Okay, the sounds of Sister Shannon Cecil sleeping to the city. Our time stands at 8:30. Go switch over to Studio B and say good morning to you, Brother Michael Jenkins.
Good morning, everyone. And fresh off of, a little bit louder. Fresh off of my hunting trip last week. Was I hunting or was I fishing? I was fishing. Last weekend, my wife and I took off and went down a road of peace to Santee, Lake Marion, and we caught some fish. I caught some fish. Can you believe I caught some fish? I never catch fish. I mean, there's no point in me having a pole sitting there acting like I'm catching fish because I don't catch fish. Except last weekend, folks. I went down there. Of course, my wife baits my hook because I don't like touching worms. So, so she baited my hook. As soon as I threw the thing in there, I had a bite. And my old buddy down in Utahville taught me how to set hooks and everything. He said, yo, you got to set the hook. I said, what's set the hook? What does that even mean? But I think I got it right because I pulled on that baby and out flew a nice sized crappie. And so I threw in again. Here came another one. I'm like, wow, I'm actually fishing here, man. But when you look at the whole haul that my wife and I brought home, it was in the area of about 35 fish. 4 of them I'm proud to say that I caught. But she got out of bed early in the morning and went down to the lake. And by the time I woke up about 11 o'clock, she had already caught about 25 fish already. This woman is unbelievable. I'm telling you. The thing I tell people, if my wife and I are out in the woods somewhere, lost, and there's a river or lake there with fish, we are going to eat. We're going to eat because she's a master at it. But anyway, it was a great time. We had a wonderful time. And unfortunately, there were some downsides, as Trey Reeves knows. What's up, Trey? How you doing, buddy? Thanks for taking care of the old lady the other day. I appreciate it. You were professional, and you handled it wonderfully, and she's doing fine. Let you know that. But right now, at this day and time, we have, well, anyway, Mullins boys now have a new basketball coach. And Marion now has a new football coach. And we're not going to talk about those things today, but just to know that finally, Swamp Fox have hired a football coach. And I don't know a lot about him, but I know that I think he played in Florence at, I want to say West Florence. I could be wrong. And I think he played also his college ball at Coastal, I want to say. The Mullins basketball coach is, I was told, from Florence as well, somehow connected with Wilson High School. And so we'll see in the next coming weeks the details on both of these new hires. But thank God that they've got some coaches in place, especially Marion football. I was getting very worried. I was thinking, wow, it's May already and they don't have a coach. So now they do have a coach, and hopefully this is a young man who can build this program, because that's what they need now. They need someone to build the program. Marion's had a rich tradition in football, but let's face the last 2 years, they were terrible. They won one game in 2 years, which makes, 20 losses, 19 losses against one win? It's terrible. So now they have moved in another direction. And I understand that another good friend of mine is also going to be coming to be an assistant coach. I'm not going to call his name now, but I'm very, very happy about that part. I know more about that person than I do about the head coach. So that makes me feel kind of okay, if it is true. But right now, baseball is going on, and it's going on in a big way. And you have the usual suspects hanging around, trying to go further in this tournament. Let's see. Can I do this? Yeah, I wanted to take a look at Latta and Lakeview, which they play today. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, Latta and Lakeview play today at 12 noon. Let's see. Oh, no, that's the wrong one there. Latta and Lakeview renewing their rivalry. Well, first of all, I didn't want to read the names of the Latta and Lakeview players, except Lakeview doesn't have theirs listed. So, the Latta Vikings, 23-8, 9-4 in the region, and right now they're in a game today to play against Lakeview that would help them go farther, I think, to a lower state. As I told you, I stopped looking at the brackets a long time ago because they're too confusing. Pamela Owens, good morning. How are you, ma'am? Thanks for joining the program today. Well, these are the players from Latta on this roster, this 22-man roster. You have Caden Hyatt, Braxton Bailey, Chaz Smith, Zach Lane, Fisher Richardson. I wonder if they named him after Fisher, the radio guy in Florence, good buddy of mine. Bryson Berry, Danny McDowell, J.J. Welch, Brennan Miles, Josiah Durant, Darren Alford, Luke Huggins, Case Price, and they say he's an 8th grader, this Case Price person. He must be pretty good. R.W. Barry, Mason Weatherford, Ryder Rogers, he's an 8th grader. Noah Cook, Logan Bird, Brayton Berry, Easton Marsh, Noah Brigman, and Parker Godball, who is also a part of the 8th grade deal. So they're already building for the future. And Ladder's program, has been solid right throughout. I mean, since Donald Cribb went over there, he really helped to build that program. But good baseball has been played in Ladder for a long time. And now Lakeview and Ladder, both good at the same time. Lakeview has been great for years, so that hasn't changed. But what happened to get Ladder to this point is they, what is the name of this? Oh, they beat Bamberg Earhart High School to start things off. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. They beat Bamberg Earhart High School on the 11th, 4-1. And then they beat them again 3-0 before moving on to play against Hannah Pamplico. And they beat Hannah Pamplico 6-4, which sets up the game today against the mighty Lakeview Wild Gators. Oh, let's see here. There's a team in this tournament that I really didn't expect, but they seem to be doing pretty well, and that's the Lake City Panthers. Let's tell you how Marion and Mullins' season ended, because they both got into the playoff and had themselves a cup of tea, as they say, a cup of coffee in the playoff, meaning they weren't there long. Marion started out, after they lost to Green Sea Floors in a non-conference affair, on the 5th, they took on Chesterfield, and they lost that game 8-0. The next game, they lost to Barnwell 13-0. So I believe that should have ended their season. I know their season is ended, but I think that would have been the game to end it for them. Let's see. Take a look at old Mullins over here. And Mullins finished their season at 5-14, but the 3-9 record in the conference got them in. And what did they do? I think they had a cup of coffee as well, as they say. And they started out on the 5th against Bridgers Prep. And Bridgers Prep took care of Mullins 21-0. And I think this is Military Magnet. There's a lot of initials for names. This is Academic Magnet. Okay. So Academic Magnet was the team that eliminated Mullins from the state tournament this year, as they beat them 12-0. Let's see. Dylan is still dancing. Let me look at some schedules here. Dylan is still dancing, I know that. Let's see. And Dylan plays today as well. They play against Walkable today. You know what? I think Lakeview, hold on a second. It's Lake City. That's Ladder. I want to take a look at Lakeview. Nope, it's not it either. But at any rate, the playoffs are happening, and we're looking at some local teams still in the dance. So we'll have to see. I know that we have a young lady with roots in Marion, and that would be Miss Jemiah Waiters, and she is playing now over at South Florence High School. And South Florence is doing extremely well. And they're in the hunt for a state championship. And from what I understand, the young lady hit a home run the other day, first of the season. She played for Marion as a youngster, and you really can't blame them for taking her over there. She'll get more looks. She's an outstanding talent. Ronald Rao, my brother, good morning. How you doing, man? Hey, man, when is your program on? I need to listen to you sometimes. Of course, Ronald Rao I believe he's on the air here now. The son of the legendary Maxie Rao from WDSC Radio and Dillon. But now Lake City is interesting, too, because, who really expected Lake City to jump up and do all this? Right now, they're in a hunt, and they play Sherrard today at 12 o'clock with a chance to advance. And but the problem with Lake City is going to be this. They're not going to be able to beat Atlanta Collegiate. They haven't beaten them all year. It hasn't even been close. They got beat by them on the 14th, which was Thursday. They got beat 11-1. And that's a playoff deal. Before that, regular season, they got beaten 10-0 by them. And earlier, let's see, I think they played them another time. Yeah, they got beat 10-0 two times. So Lake City's going to have their hands full with that. And you just don't know if, they say third time's the charm, but they already played them 3 times. They already beat them 3 times. So that theory doesn't work there. So looking at what do we have? Telling you got married. Let's go to what's happening in the NBA. And right now, the NBA is down to conference finals. They'll be fully down to conference finals when the Cleveland versus Detroit series has been decided. It could have been decided last night, but it wasn't. Good morning, Terrell. How you doing? Cleveland had a chance to close out Detroit in a home game last night. And when the dust had settled, they had lost. And they had punched their ticket back to the Motor City to play a 7th game. A friend of mine said, man, Mike, you know how the NBA loves a 7th game. And he's right. People love 7th games. And we've seen some great ones over the years, and I think this could be a really good one as well. Cleveland had won the last 3 games in a row until last night. But Detroit took care of business. Detroit has a wondrous, talented leader in Cade Cunningham. The only thing about Cade right now is that he's turning the ball over way too much. 7 turnovers in a game is like 1,000. You got 7 turnovers, it may as well be 1,000. When you get a ball to the other team 7 times, just you personally, you put your team in a serious situation. But that didn't hurt them last night. Cade did have the turnovers, but they still won. They won going away. Another game that took place last night was the San Antonio Spurs versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. And that series was at 3-2 Spurs. And the Spurs, put that series to bed. And now they are moving on to play in a series that was much anticipated between themselves and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Everyone's seen that one coming. I believe it'll be a great series. I'm picking the Spurs to come out of the West, even though you said yourself a mouthful when you say that, because Oklahoma City is just unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. I was asking, what time are you on, my brother? Ronald Rao. But people have issues with Oklahoma City. They say that they are flopping and falling down all over the place for no reason. They say that their superstar, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, is, a major flop artist. And so what I did was I looked at some video of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and the Thunder, and I've decided that, yeah, they do flop. And yeah, Shea is ridiculous. The guy's just throwing himself on the floor, man. And the refs are buying it and calling fouls every time this guy act like somebody hit him. And a lot of the times, nobody hit him. Oklahoma City also is a team that's known for their voracious defense and physical play. And they are physical. And the lead physical guy is a guy named Lou Dort. Lou Dort goes about 6'4", maybe 6'5", but he's built like a tank. And he's, okay, Sunday night, 6:30. Got you, Ronald. He's built like a tank and he plays like a football player. He's really knocking the crap out of people out there, folks. He's holding them. He's doing everything. So, yeah, those guys are physical. The Spurs have a plethora of young players that I'm kind of just blown away with, actually. The Castle guy, and several other. Then you got De'Aaron Fox, who's a vet now, but he's a dangerous, dangerous player. And then, of course, they got Wembanyama, who's arguably the face of the league in the next multiple years coming up, I believe. It's almost unfair that he would be so tall, yet so agile. The things he can do out there. The only way you can stop this guy, and I see kind of Minnesota doing it now, you really gotta push him around. You really have to physical him up. And that's the only way. Now, he's just 22 years old. He's still, I don't want to say he's still growing, but his body is definitely still growing. So he's going to be able to fill out some. I don't know how much more weight on him would work, but he's like, what, 7'5", 7'6", something like that, with ball handling skills, and he can shoot the ball and everything. So going forward, this kid is going to be, he's going to change things. He's changing things now. But he's not the only one on that team. They've got a kid called Dylan Harper, who is Ron Harper, the great Ron Harper. It's his boy. Ron played for the Cleveland Cavaliers before he played for the Bulls and the Lakers. Ron was a super talent when he was with Cleveland. He was a high flyer. He was a Jordan type guy. Then he tore up his knee, and he had to change his game, and he did. And he went from being a high-flying swingman to a point guard, which is what he did with the Bulls. And I'm pretty sure what he did with the Lakers as well. So his son is different. His son goes about 6'5". Ron was about 6'7". But he's got explosive leaping ability. He's got moves. He's got handles. Kid knows how to play the game. It's kind of like when you look at Ron Harper's son, and how he plays with purpose and a sense of understanding the game. But then you look at LeBron's son. LeBron is supposed to be the savant of basketball, the smartest guy. He's got all this IQ, got a great IQ. But why didn't he pass any of that down to his son? Well, I believe he didn't pass it on to his son because he doesn't have it to pass on. I don't believe he's no basketball savant. I don't think he has no great knowledge of the game. I don't see that when I see him play. And while I have transitioned to LeBron, I don't see where his game and his skill set has gotten better over the years. His ball handling hasn't improved. His jump shooting hasn't improved. Obviously, he's slowing down defensively. So, they talk about basketball savant. I don't see it. Now, the team that eliminated the Lakers were the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they swept them. And LeBron didn't have Luka there. He didn't have his full complement of players. So nobody's really shocked that he got swept. But there's a couple of games that LeBron had that really, I kind of really made you focusing on the fact that this guy's old. Okay. In one game, he had 2 rebounds. In another game, he had 4. This guy's a power forward at 6'9", 6'10", whatever. You don't get to walk off the floor after a loss with two rebounds. The Lakers cannot afford a 2-rebound game from you. So now the talk is, now what are the Lakers going to do? Are they going to resign LeBron and bring him back for another year? I don't think they should do that, really. I think that if I had to advise LeBron, and maybe I'm being a little selfish here because I'm not a fan, I'd advise him to retire, to go out with some semblance of your dignity, because this doesn't get better next year. With all the moments that you've had this year, at 41, those moments are going to increase exponentially with you at 42, okay? You're already not guarding nobody. So the Lakers are contemplating whether they're going to bring him back. I say they shouldn't. Because even if they do bring him back, the way the roster is currently constructed, you still ain't going to win no championships. So people are talking about, maybe he'll go back to Cleveland. I don't know why Cleveland would ever take LeBron James back after him doing them twice. But stranger things have happened. I thought it was strange when he went back there the first time. Now, other teams out there who are competing, the New York Knicks right now are playing better basketball than probably everybody left playing. And, I used to be a Knicks fan. I guess deep in my heart and in my soul, there's still some Knicks love there. I still got my Walt Frazier jersey in the closet. So there's some love there. I'm just not a fan of theirs anymore like I might have been back in the day. But they're playing excellent basketball. They're probably going to come out of the East because I think both Detroit and Cleveland are both flawed enough where the Knicks are going to be able to take that series for them. And looking ahead to a possible NBA Finals between the Knicks against the Spurs or the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Knicks did well against San Antonio this year. I think they beat them 2 out of 3 times. They would probably have a better chance of beating them than against Oklahoma City, even though Oklahoma City is missing a couple players. And Jason Williams in particular, they still have, I believe, enough to beat the Knicks, and I think they could take the Knicks. But it would be a good series. San Antonio, they got a lot of young players on that team. You just never know how they're going to respond once they get to that stage. But Knicks fans have been suffering for a long time, obviously. They haven't won a championship since 1973. Okay? Don't look now, but this is 2026. And they haven't had a title. Now, they had some opportunities. They had some good teams that competed, and like they had the possibility of winning a championship. And the last team that they had that I liked was the team with Melo and Raymond Felton, Tyson Chandler, Amari Stoudemire. That team I really liked. Now, the other teams that had a chance, the Patrick Ewing teams, I didn't like those teams. I wasn't a big fan of Patrick Ewing, never have been. I liked some of the players, but as I said, I wasn't really feeling the Knicks back then. But this year, they have a good chance, and I believe that they're going to get there this year, at least get to the finals. My Warriors are not doing good, but the offseason is almost here. They got to do something to build this team, or Steph needs to get out of there. And I wouldn't have a problem with them leaving if they don't do anything to improve this roster. Anyway, it's Foxtrot weekend in Marion, folks. All that's going on down there in the city. So get on down there and check out some Foxtrot events. Derek Weeks, good morning, my friend. How are you? Anyway, folks, that's all the time I got. I'm out. Peace.